Oh, I don't know if I should mention this, but they say there's all kind of viruses on my iPhone. Uh, I don't know. Um, anyway, so at slightly after Franklin, Mike, and Franklin's sister, and Mike's wife, who never left the apartment, and his stepson, who put my TV in, or my DVD player. This was early on when I first moved in, and Franklin's sister was always over there. Besides all of the girls, and then the other girl came, who was in the witness protection program a little while after everybody else, and then two people there moved in, and one day, well, my family was coming to visit too, and my family was bringing a lot of stuff, the furniture. They helped me pay the first month's security deposit. And it's very nice furniture, and so the girl was usually at Franklin's until sometimes she would be until sometimes she said something or he said something that really worried me. He said, "You think I might have already said this?" He said, "Paul, I want you to know that last night I beat her up, I raped her, and I married her." And he said several things like that at different times. And so after that, she stayed with me for maybe I'd say anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and she told me things which I won't say here, but so either that led me to say, well, either you take the couch and I'll take the bed, I'll take the couch, you take the bed, and then she smoked too, which really affected me. I can't be around cigarette smoke. Um, and she had lots of clothes that she brought over, and she started taking baths every morning at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was getting to the point where he wasn't getting any sleep. Plus, I was dealing with those two. The dogs were disappearing all over the place. Um, Three of them in quick succession. And I told Mike, I said, "What's going on with the dogs?" And he wanted to know who said that, made the mistake of saying something. He said, "Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do tomorrow, Paul. I'm going to make her cry," he said to me. So I said, "No, you're not going to do that." And he said, "Yeah, yeah, I am. What do you think I'm doing? I'm not doing anything. I'm fighting them home," he said. And so I never understood. I mean, sometimes I couldn't understand it. I just couldn't understand if he was like putting on an act, if he was really some kind of. I didn't know. Frankly, now I definitely know. But Mike, I never was sure of. Sometimes he'd say, like, if I see a guy beating up his girlfriend or his wife outside, I'll beat him up and things like that. And I don't know what to think, but I think now, I don't know. He definitely looked an awful lot like Charles Manson. He talked about that Russian roulette. There was other things he would say that were strange. Um, and I did come back from the woods alive, which is strange. He had a perfect opportunity. And the girl was with me. She had a lot of clothes. And I remember, I think, and I don't mean this to insult or hurt her feelings or anything, but they were putting something on her. I don't know what it was, but they were putting something on her that made it hard to empathize with her. I did, but it made it hard. It was always there. I don't know if they were putting it on her or what it was. But every morning at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, she was running the water. Um, and I wasn't getting any sleep. Plus, I was having to deal with them. Now, the dog he did keep was a beagle. And he called and he started giving me, now I have to say this, and I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying it, but he started giving me, I say it, I'm going to say it, he started giving me Vicodins and Vicodins and Valiums. I didn't sell them, I didn't buy them or anything, he just gave them to me. And after using them for right about the time, maybe 3 weeks in a row, I stopped. Told him I wasn't interested in buying them anymore. But the strange thing was is that why was she over there and I'm with this protection program? It just didn't make any sense. Nothing about it made sense at the time. And I never seen anybody get hurt. I just seen so much bizarre stuff going on. And then so she stayed with me for that amount of time, and the Jehovah's Witnesses started coming to the apartment. Because at the time she was a Jehovah's Witness. And then one of them said to me one time, he said, I believe in the Father and the Son, but not the Holy Spirit. I said, well, I can't talk to you anymore about that, because I was always brought up to believe that only said you could commit that couldn't be forgiven was against the Holy Spirit. So I told him I couldn't talk about religion with him anymore. And they still came over, but I didn't talk too much about spirituality with them after that. There was 3 of them all together, 2 men and 1 woman. And I told her if she wanted to smoke, she had to be. That's not no big thing. I mean, I'm not, but she's smoking in the other room. But I remember one day, especially, I took her to the mall on the bus and bought her a dress, and she looked at me, and her eyes were like she was happy. She was happy for once. So it made me feel good. But she was I couldn't sleep because I was. And then I saw years later, I saw that movie Heat, and I was horrified. And I thought, well, it's either one of 2 things: either that, what that kid did in that movie, almost tried to do, or she was warning me that they were outside. I don't know which one it was. Either one or the other. She was warning me they were outside and trying to wake me up. I said, I get up and I said, you can't take a bath now. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. And every night it would be that. So it's either one of those 2 things. I hope it was she was trying to warn me. And I don't know if it was around this time, during this time, and after her brother passed away, I started making sure the lady was all right. That was across the corner from me. Just to keep her company for a while, because she had no friend at this time. She was in like her mid-80s, and she had one of those phones, that contacts the police or fire department right away. So, I'd say every, at least twice a week, she was starting small fires, not anything real serious, but small fires. On the stove, she would put something to cook without putting something under it. And then she'd walk into a bedroom or a bathroom and totally forget about it, and the fire alarm would go off. And I can remember her, she used to look at me with these big glasses, with these big eyes, reading the newspaper. little elderly lady. She's always sitting at the rocket chair by the window. And she said to me one day, she said, Paul, I was thinking of buying a space heater. Oh my God, I thought, jeez. She's already setting fires as it is every once in a while. So, and one day I went over there and she looked kind of like, the only way I can describe it is she looked, all due respects, especially she looked kind of like Kirk Douglas did after the stroke. And I said that to the fireman who came, who said her blood pressure was like 300 over 200. I said, well, he said that's the highest blood pressure I've ever seen in anybody in my life. And by then her face had fallen back to its normal shape. He said, well, what did she look like? I said, well, she kind of looked like Kurt Douglas. Did I say Kurt Russell? I meant to say Kurt Douglas after the stroke. Um, and so now at that time, so I'm gonna have to shut off in a minute. But so she would go to Stop and Shop sometimes. Uh, so sometimes people would get food for her or bring it home. The lady next door to her caught real bad illness. And I have to go. I'll continue in a while.